of the things that I have talked about recently is how you need to be very diligent in protecting your children from potential situations that involve predators, so we say. So I want to do a story time because I have several different situations that occurred in my own life. I talk about this stuff, but a lot of times people think, "Oh, you just talking." No, I have some stuff I can share with you. Let me start at the beginning. When my daughter was about, I don't know, maybe she was still in diapers, so running around in a diaper and a t-shirt, like a onesie type of thing. And my husband was still alive at that point. And we had a neighbor that lived across the hall from us, and she had this boyfriend. And they came over to our house, and our daughter, she's running around and doing whatever, and playing with her toys and dragging her little stuffed animals around and stuff. Now that's not, I mean, of course she's a cute little girl. I'll try to find a picture that I can pop up there. She was a cutie, so of course she's going to get a lot of attention. But this woman's boyfriend was, I mean, it was like he couldn't even think. He couldn't even follow the conversation with the adults. He was looking at her so hard. And it just seemed kind of odd. I mean, the way he was staring at her. And, I looked up, I saw my husband looking at dude, like giving him the side eye, and I thought, okay, here we go. Some shit's getting ready to go down. And he jumped up and he told him that they had to leave. Right? He's like, y'all got to get the fuck up out of my house. And so the neighbor, we'd always been very friendly. And so she was kind of, like looking like, what the heck happened? Because nothing had really been said. Nobody had said anything. But he told me after he kicked them out that he didn't like the way the dude was checking her. He said he wasn't looking at her like, cute little baby. He was checking her out like a dude checks out a woman. And I was like, what? Because I hadn't seen all that, but he was like zeroing in because I saw him giving dude, the evil eye. And, but I couldn't figure out what it was about. I was thinking of some man stuff that I didn't really catch or whatever. But that wasn't it, honey. He did not like how he was looking at his baby. Okay, so she's, I don't know, what, 18 months, 13, something little. I mean, she's a tiny little thing. So fast forward maybe 2 more years. He had this friend, right? The friend comes over, and our living room was okay. Like you come in the front door, and here's you come into the living room, and you can go, straight ahead. You go up the stairs, but if you go through the living room, you go through the dining room and around to the kitchen. So there was like a bookcase, and like a counter thing where we had, little pictures and whatnot. So you had to go around this thing to get into the kitchen. So once you're in the kitchen, you couldn't really see what was going on in the living room. So when his friend came, and so I went into the kitchen and I was getting them some beers and stuff. I was in there for a minute. Then I left. I went in the kitchen and I was, making some snack tray or something and getting a couple of beers and whatnot. And all of a sudden, I heard my husband say, "Motherfucker, get the fuck up out of here! Give me my baby!" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh no, what happened now?" It's like I hadn't even been in the kitchen 5 minutes. Well, then that dude leaves, and come to find out that the dude, he was holding our daughter, right? And like by then she was about maybe 2.5, 3. And so he was holding her, and he's sitting on the couch, and he's holding her, by her waist. And but he had her so she was straddling his lap. Like, why you need to hold a little girl like that? So and then he's like bouncing her up and down, right? Now you know what that looks like. And Hub said dude's dick was getting hard. So he threw him out. He's like, nah, you get to get out. Now keep in mind, this is when, I'm in my late 20s and he's in his late 30s. So his friends, are in their, they're mid to late 30s, maybe early 40s. Some of them were older than him. And This is the prime age. You would think that guys would have wives and girlfriends and wouldn't be tripping on little girls like that, but that's what happened. Now these are true stories. These actually happened to me. These happened to, they happened to involve my daughter. They happened in my house. Okay, but luckily there was some intervention. Now let's move forward a few years. By then, my daughter's about, I guess about 6.5, 7, and her dad died when she was 6. So, people have been after me to, get out and start dating and whatnot. It's like, you need to get back out there. So I'm like, well, okay, maybe. So I happen to know a friend of mine that lived down in Los Angeles. So she's like, "Well, girl, come on down here. It's a real nice party this weekend, and I'll take you. This dude who I know, who's a producer, is throwing a party at his house, and it's real nice. It's up in the hills, and you get a great view, and should be some real nice people there. This and that, people in the industry and whatnot." At this point, I was still kind of naive because I didn't realize that everybody that's in the industry is a bullshit artist and trash, you know. So, I'm like, okay, I mean, sounds fun. And I like, she was a friend of mine. So I felt like it would be okay. And we went with her boyfriend. So we didn't have, we weren't there by ourselves. So, it was cool. So we go in this party and, you're talking to people and stuff. I've been there, I don't know, an hour or two. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, I understand you a friend of, about my friends." I said, "Yeah." "And you from Northern Cali?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I never been up that way. What's it like?" So we chit chat about, the San Francisco, Oakland area for a minute. And I'm talking about it, having grown up here and everything. And so he's like, "Oh, I'd like to come up there one day." I said, "Oh, yeah, you'd probably enjoy it. Let me know when you come." I'm thinking, because I could just like show you around or something. I'm not trying to like get with you. And so, dude, I guess took that as an invitation. I don't know what he thought, to tell you the truth. It was like all in his mind because there was nothing I said that could be even remotely construed as me wanting you to come and be with me at my house. So then he says, "Yeah, why don't you give me your address and stuff, and then when I come up, then I could just stay with you." And I'm sure I had that same expression on my face, like, "What? What you say?" I said, "Stay with me. You ain't staying with me." And he's like, "Well, why not?" And I'm looking at this dude and I'm thinking about my daughter. And I'm very like, no matter what I do, what I did and who I did it with, she never knew. Nobody came to my house. Okay. You don't come to my house. I was just like, I don't know what you're gonna do. We gonna go to a hotel. We gonna go on a trip. We going to your house. Whatever we gonna do, but you ain't coming to my house. And that's just it. That was my rule. You don't need to come to my house. So he thought he was gonna come to my house. Now keep in mind, now just in case you forgot, I had just met this man. Okay, I went to the party. I had been at the party about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So and he walked up to me and started talking. So our total interaction was maybe 15, 20 minutes. Okay, but he wanted to come to my house. And I'm sitting there looking, dude, you ain't fly or rich enough to come to my house. But he wasn't going to come regardless. But you know what I mean? I'm just talking shit in my head. So he's like, "Well, why can't I come to your house?" And I said, "Well, let me put it to you like this. If you were to come to my house and I were to find you doing or saying anything to my daughter that I thought crossed the line, they would find your body in the San Francisco Bay." And I said it just like that. I didn't smile. I didn't blink. I didn't smirk. I didn't do nothing. I just straight face like I have right now. Your body, they'll find your body in the bay. And I just looked at him. And he was like, "What? What you saying?" I'm like, "You heard what I said?" It's like one thing that I do not do is put my daughter in any kind of questionable or compromising position. And having you at my house would do that. So no, you ain't coming to my house. And if you did, you would be taking your life into your hands. That's what I'm telling you. "You crazy, you crazy." I'm like, I might be. I'm thinking, of course at this point it's been verified that I am, but I don't care. It's like once her dad died, the responsibility, all the stuff that he used to do, that fell to me now, and I take it very seriously. Now, You can get a hotel. You're supposed to be a big time producer or some shit in the industry. Didn't handle that, homie. They know that ain't my responsibility. Okay, so then, I'm like in awe at the boldness of these dudes. And there's more. I mean, this she's only six. Okay, now the seven or what, eight, whatever. Okay, there's more to this. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, one thing they have this newspaper up here called the Express. It's out of Berkeley. And it used to be before the internet personal, so you know how long ago this was. It used to be like the biggest thing here in the Bay Area as far as, finding people to date and hook up with and all this stuff. Actually, even after online dating was still popular, it probably still is. I don't know. I just haven't looked at it. And so people would place these little personal ads and everything. So, I was at this coffee shop, me and a couple of my friends, and we were hoorahing and, laughing and whatnot. And I happened to be reading the personals, and I was reading some of them out loud, and we were laughing at some of the ads. And then I happened to read one that was written by this guy, and in it, he went on and on. Oh, he's like looking for a woman, but he didn't really say anything about the woman that he was looking for. He didn't say much about her qualities as far as her age or looks or height or what she was interested in or what they might have in common or what his relationship goals were. Anything. He didn't say anything about that. What dude focused on, and I swear this is what I read, and if you have children, that's great, especially if their age is blah 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 blah, and they're girls and blah blah blah. Okay, so one sentence of this multi-line ad was about the woman, and the other 12, 15 lines was about what her children were. If that wasn't a blatant open invitation for pedophilia, I don't know what was. I pick up the phone. I call the Express, and I said, I need to speak to whoever's in charge of your personals ads. And so they put me to some little girl. You could tell she was probably like a college student or something stupid. I'm like, so she gets on the phone and she's like, oh, what? I said, let me speak to one of your manager. So this more mature guy gets on the phone and I was like, okay. So I read him the ad and I said, now, what does that say to you? And he just sat there. He's like, that's in our paper? I said, yes. It's on page blah blah in the third column, and told him where to find it. And I could hear the paper rustling, he's rustling the paper and he's, flipping till he finds it. And he's like, oh my God. I said, exactly. So I know you guys, you must have some kind of screening that you look for certain words or whatever, but this is different. This is the context that was missed and what his true goal is. Please because they had this thing where you could like write and they would forward the email, or and sometimes I think people could get a phone number too. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I know you could write and then they would forward, the letter to you. And I said, please, any letters that have come in to this man, please do not forward them. Those women are just blind. They can't see what's going on right now, and their children will be at risk. Please help protect them. And he said that he would, and so that was that. Okay. And me and my friends were like, this is just too much. I mean, dude is just like putting out an ad for, what he wants to do to kids and what age he wants to do it. Because you do know that these guys tend to have a preference. They have a preference in, age and gender. And it usually, once a child ages out, they've already been in the process of grooming another child to replace that one. And so it's like a constant process for them. Part of the grooming process is they develop a relationship of trust with the parents and or parent or the caregiver, whatever, of the child, so that person or those persons will allow them unfettered access to the child and to spend time alone with them and possibly even take the child off place, take them to the park, take them to the movies, whatever. I mean, they'll take them to buy some shoes. They, will trust, the parents will trust the individual and let them have access that they wouldn't let other people have. Okay, you think that's the end? Oh no, there's more. This one is really like, so now my daughter, I don't know, she's about 10 or so. And, I had started this business doing events here in Oakland. It's called Panache for Black Singles. And I used to, every month, I put on a singles event. at a different location, and kind of do matchmaking and stuff like this. So my daughter's about, I don't know, about 9, 10 years old at this point. And so I went to the Oakland Chamber of Commerce meeting. They had these breakfast meetings once a month. You got to get up at the butt crack of dawn, but I thought it would be good for me to go and meet some people in business and hear about business in Oakland and what they had planned and maybe some new venues. It was good. And so, they always had a great speaker. It was very motivational, and then they had food. That's when I still ate, meat and eggs and all that stuff. So, you get this nice breakfast and then you meet some interesting people. So it was all gravy. About my third trip there, I met this guy. And, he was like, the tall, dark, and handsome. I was like, ooh, hello, bingo. My name is Deborah. Hi. Yeah, but that didn't last too long. Okay, so we're chit chatting and everything, and he's. I mean, the conversation went well. I mean, he had a nice little business and everything. I don't remember what he did now, but whatever. I mean, it was something that was there's something that worked with what I was. Oh, graphics. That's what it was. He had this graphics design business and printing company. So I thought, that would be good because that's what I need. I need some invitations. I need some graphics done, and so we exchanged numbers. So he's like, "Can I get your number?" Yeah, show you can. So he calls me that night, and we're talking, and it was just like regular chit chat, whatnot, getting to know each other, conversation. And then suddenly my daughter said something, and she in the background, honey, dude had been calm and just reasonable and regular up until the moment he heard her voice, and then suddenly he became quite animated. Ooh, he perks up. You have a child? Like that. Not like, oh, you have kids. You know how dudes would be like, I mean, they be polite about it, but they really not tripping on the fact that you have kids. This one got excited. Oh, you have children? How many? I said, oh, just one. Is it a boy or a girl? I said, a girl. Okay, now I'm starting to get, it's something about the way he was talking and the way he just like lit up that kind of made me get a little leery. So now I'm like looking at the phone, and so I get back on the phone, right? And so then he's like, yeah, so, how old is she? So now I'm really getting uncomfortable. It's just something's not right. Something's not resting right. And I got started getting uneasy. And I said, she's like, 9, or, why do why? Let me tell you what this motherfucker said to me next. And I'm not lying. This actually happened. He says to me, oh, if you ever want to go out with your friends and you need a babysitter, just call me. Okay, what? I just met you this morning. I don't know you from a hole in the ground. All I know is that you own this business. At least you say you do. I ain't seen it, so I can't say I saw a business card, but you know how those are. You can get those made anywhere. And you think that I'm going to call you and put you in a position where you are alone in a locked house with my baby? You really think that? Honey, now y'all know how I cuss. You know how I get down. I went smooth the fuck off like there was no tomorrow. I cussed that motherfucker out so tough it was I mean, I didn't even know I knew that many curse words. They just start flying out. And then in closing, I told him, and let me tell you something. I'm going to go to these breakfast meetings. I better not see your fucking face in there not one time, because the second you do, I'm going to get on the microphone and I'm going to tell everybody what a goddamn freak pedophile you are. That's what I'm going to do. But I was just trying to be, no, 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 no. I'm not stupid. I know what that means, you fucking freak. Oh my God. That dude, I'm telling you. Okay, but anyway, I shared all these stories with you guys, and trust me, there's more, but this is enough to let you understand the vast amount of dudes that are after your children, especially your little girls. And you guys just tripping around, just being all brand new and acting like, oh, he likes kids, we gonna be a family. He's interested in my children. He can help me with my kids and all this stuff. You need your asses kicked. You doing too much. You're being overly trusting and you're putting your children at risk because you just have this fantasy in your head that every man you meet wants to step into a father role over your children. You leave the kids with them, you run off to the club with the kids babysitting and motherfuckers in there drinking. Or you over there, all at work and stuff, and they got 8 to 10 hours to be at home with your kids just totally messing over them. I even heard of a case. Now, this wasn't one with me, but this to let you know, this was the baby's actual father. The mother, the father wasn't working at whatever reason, and they had a baby, right? So it's time for mama to go back to work. She goes to work. Well, her second or third, no, she went back to work. The baby's like 2 months old. She goes back to work, and when she comes home, sometime in the first week, she comes home and the baby just crying, 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 and it was like feverish. And she's asking the husband, what happened to, why is the baby, sick like that? And so he's like, I don't know, I don't know. So she snatches the baby up and runs to the emergency room. And they somehow, they look in the baby's mouth and everything, and they do the cultures and stuff because they get thrush in their little mouths and everything, and they do the stool samples and all that stuff. Anyway, come to find out that the baby was crying because the baby hadn't had any food. The baby was hungry. What they found in the baby's stomach was sperm, the sperm from his daddy. Do you understand what that man was doing to his own infant son? Okay, so the mother goes home and stabs the daddy, kills him. And I mean, she got arrested and everything, but they let her go because of the situation. Like her attorney pleaded, temporary insanity and grief, and the jury agreed with her because you got some parents on there. They can't imagine anyone doing something like that to their child, and the women, of course, were horrified and felt so much empathy for her and the pain of knowing that your husband did something like that. The loss of your dreams and your hope and the love. I mean, it's all tangled in there together, along with your feeling of responsibility and obligation to your child, and the feeling that you didn't protect your baby and you trusted this man because you loved him. I mean, imagine that woman's emotional and mental state. See, I'm kind of running you through it because I want you to really get an understanding of all the turmoil that was going on in her mind and heart, about her son and about her marriage and about the man that she loved. All kind of mixed in there together. So they let her out. I mean, she was acquitted, and that was the end of that. So these kind of things, this is not necessarily the happiest conversation in my first real story time video. There will be more, don't worry. But I wanted to share these stories with you because this shit is real. These I wanted to share with you what I personally experienced with men trying to get at my daughter. Okay, and luckily she's an adult now, so we don't really have that problem. But just think if I hadn't been as aware as I am, if I hadn't been as astute, if I had been my self-esteem had been lower and I had felt like more needy and um, more desirous of having a man at any cost, that I would put her in that risky situation just to have some dude around. So, you young ladies and that do that, just think about these stories that I tell you and what happened, and you are the first line of defense to protect your children. It's on you, especially you're a single mother. But the two of you, if you're two parents, you got to work together as a team and be very vigilant. These people, any adult male who try to spend a little bit too much time around your house and around your kids, always showing up every time you want to do something with your kids, his ass is there. You need to tell him to go home, and put some space between him and your children. Don't let your children get too close to these people that keep wanting to come around. Don't do that. You got these quote family friends and they always at your house and always up under your kids. Tell them motherfuckers to go home. Send them away. Tell them you can come over when we invite you. Other than that, don't come over to my house and think you're just going to be all up under my kids. It doesn't work like that. So this is just kind of a warning, just something to be aware of. and to see how slick these guys are. How, they slide these things in into everyday situations when you aren't looking. Luckily, when I was in the kitchen, my husband was in the living room. Luckily, when I was, walking around at the house with the baby, my husband was in the living room and he was watching, entertaining the couple that had come over. And so he was watching dude. He was watching him carefully. And he's worse than me about, checking out some bull. You guys think that I recognize some game? That man was. So together, I mean, if we had this channel together, it would be like we'd have 60 million subscribers because he was crazy. He was a nut. But that's my story about how to watch out for people who have some kind of unsavory interest in your children. Those are some of the signs that you can watch for to know that what they're trying to do and what they're trying to talk about is something that, is just not right. And what you need to do about it, put your foot down and kick them out. Don't be shy. Don't feel like you have to be polite and kind to them or thoughtful and considerate. Just get them out your house. Get them away from your kids by any means necessary. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. I got some stuff I want to run by you guys about Valentine's Day. Some people that are having some real Valentine's Day drama. So we can sit there. We're going to be laughing at them. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.